Well, one of the things that you come to learn is an essential priority is to check the 10-day weather forecast. When you're living as a nomad in your car RV, weather affects you in a serious way. Whether it be the extreme temperature that could negatively affect your ability to sleep in a vehicle, whether it is the wind gust that could affect you towing a travel trailer or driving an RV in a certain area. Weather with regards to temperature, wind, humidity, and precipitation, it affects you at a greater level as a nomad. Why? Because you don't have a fully insulated home. Okay. Some RVs are insulated, some vans, but for the most part, a vehicle and even an RV, they're not the same as a house or an apartment. And you certainly don't have the same climate controls and stability living in your car than you do apartment. An RV a little bit more so, but an RV you have to worry about, again, driving conditions and even being stationary with regards to high wind gust. So we have to remember as nomads, as people living in their vehicles, that checking the 10-day forecast is not something that we should take lightly. It is an essential part of our daily routine. It determines a part of our traveling abilities. It may determine us making a move right away. Look, when a hurricane came last year when I was in Florida, I had to make a decision right away to get out of Dodge. Okay, I had a couple days advance notice, but you have to remember that your biggest asset being a nomad is being on wheels. The difference between a regular conforming life and the nomadic life is you have wheels on your home, a regular house doesn't. So a regular house has a poured concrete foundation. In most instances, it has insulation, has temperature control. A nomad, whether you live in a vehicle or an RV, you're on wheels because when extreme weather comes, you should leave. Certainly there's seasonal nomads, right? That it's hurricane season in Florida, so should you even be there? Well, you can, but you have to know that you have to check the 10-day forecast even more so than every day. Like, if it's January and I'm in Florida, I still check the 10-day forecast, but I don't check it as diligently, right, as if I was in the height of hurricane season in September. So the different months affect, how vigorously we have to check. But I check the 10-day forecast different than when I was in the house. When I lived in a house for 15 years, I would check to see what the temperature may be in the coming days. But I wouldn't check to see what are going to be the highs of the day and what are going to be the lows. What's the miles per, how much wind will there be? What are the miles, what do they call it? I'm thinking miles per hour, but I'm not sure how they measure wind gusts. Maybe it's that. But, I didn't look at the wind gust, the precipitation, the highs and the lows, the humidity levels. I didn't look at the details. I didn't look at the details of the weather forecast like I do as a nomad, because the weather didn't affect me as extreme as it does living in my vehicle for the past 4 years. Like when I lived in a house, if there was going to be bad weather on the weekend, I said, well, I'm not going to go to this cookout. But when I live in a car, if there's going to be an extreme storm this weekend, I may leave the state. Okay, weather affects you at a higher level, at a greater capacity living in a vehicle than it does living in a home, living in a house, a apartment, or single family house. So, it's just part of an awareness to nature that you have because you live in nature. You are more in tune with nature as a nomad. And it's something that you have to start to be more diligent about with regards to the details of the 10-day forecast. Every day I check it. And every day, a little bit, the weather changes, right? Because they say that a 10-day forecast is, maybe 60, 70% accurate. The most accurate weather predictions are within 1 to 3 days. Okay. So if you look at a 10-day forecast, the weather for the next 3 days is probably 80 to 90% accurate of what it's going to be. But once you get past 4 days and you go into the 4 to 10 day part of the 10-day forecast, the probabilities of change are higher because, no one can predict the weather 100%, especially, the further out in the future you go. So that's something that you have to be mindful of too, right? Like if you check the 10-day forecast today and on the 10th day in the future, it shows it's going to be sunny and 70 degrees. Now you may, check that 4 days from now, and now that day looks like it may be raining with high wind gusts. There can be that change the further you get out. So it's just something I want to bring awareness to because it's part of my experience in living 4 years in my Jeep Renegade here and making videos. This is a practical thing that you have to embed in your routine as a nomad to just live a better life on the road and not so that you can proactively move, right? Like again, if there's a hurricane coming in 10 days, you don't want to wait like someone who lives in a house to the last couple days to see if you're going to have a mandatory evacuation. Okay. As a nomad, remember your home is on wheels. So you want to proactively evacuate, proactively move because your greatest asset is the fact that you're on wheels. So don't make that don't become a liability when you don't have to. Use your asset, use your flexibility because that's the blessing of the nomadic life. And the weather affects, the amount you'll have to move at times. And so, that's part of the game that you're in, when you join up to live this lifestyle. So hopefully my videos help you in some way. They inform you, they give you something to think about, they encourage you, they inspire you. If they do, click the thumbs up. If you like to support the channel, click the blue join button, become a member. You get unlimited access to all my live feeds. You'll get a custom badge, custom emojis. You can check out my playlist on my channel, which documents my almost 4 years now living on the road and a variety of different topics that I've discussed along the way. Thank you to all my members. Thank you to all those who watch. Gratitude, peace. Keep pushing forward.